Today we are going to start the chapter for directing. This is the fourth function of management that we've discussed so far. All the functions of management, starting with planning, organizing, staffing, then comes directing. After your plans have been formulated, right, the organizational structures have been developed, appropriate people have been recruited and selected to perform the designated task, right? Now all this was just the thinking function. Clear? With directing comes the execution of the first three steps of management comes to the forefront. No matter how well I have formulated my plans, no matter how good the organizational structures have been planned, no matter how highly qualified people have you recruited, but till the time the function of directing is not performed well, the first three functions of management will go in vain. आपने जितनी भी अच्छी प्लानिंग की हो, जितने भी अच्छे लोग रिक्रूट किए हो, जब तक the function of directing has not been performed properly, the first three steps or the first three functions of management will not be successful. I mean, the entire plan is going to go for a 6, right? Now, what exactly is the meaning of the word directing? As the definition says, directing is telling people what to do and seeing that they do it to the best of their ability, right? In precisely, we can say that directing puts life into all three functions of management, that is your planning, organizing and staffing. Directing is basically giving instructions to the people, giving instructions to people as to how the job is to be done, right? It is how the job is to be done. There are different elements of directing which are used. That is your motivation. You motivate the employees to perform to their best of abilities and capabilities so that organizational goals are achieved effectively and efficiently. So directing basically means to give direction. आपने प्लान कर लिया that what are my objectives, what are the broad organizational objectives, and depending upon the broad organizational objectives, what are going to be the sub objectives for each and every department. This is your plan, right? You've developed organizational structure, that whether we are going to be following functional structure or a divisional structure, what are the superior subordinate relationships, what hierarchies to be followed, all this you've worked out, right? Then after you have identified the number of the job positions which are there in your organization for which you need to recruit people, you've performed the function of staffing. So now you have your plans, you have your organization structure right in place, and you have the right person appropriate for the job. Clear? Now we have to put all these three functions together by the means of directing. By the means of directing, right? It is basically now we'll have to, the people that we've recruited, now we have to tell them what are they supposed to do, right? And at the same time guiding them, supporting them in order to ensure that whatever they are doing, they do in the best possible manner to the best of their abilities and capabilities, right? So the first three functions have been performed very well. In order to ensure that these three functions that we've already performed, they don't go waste, we have to ensure that the fourth function and the most important function, that is of directing, has to be performed in the best possible manner, right? With this, coming to the features of directing. What are the various features, characteristics of directing? Number one, directing is action oriented. Again, I'm repeating the point that planning, organizing and staffing, they were all thinking function. They were all thinking function. We've planned it just on paper. We've planned it on paper. But it is directing which initiates action. It is directing which initiates action. It is with the help of direction. It is with the help of directing that plans are put into action. It is with the help of directing that these authority responsibility relationships, they gain some meaning, right? Secondly, it is all pervasive. Wherever there is a superior subordinate relationship, directing में क्या है? Superior is going to instruct his subordinate that what work is to be done and how is he supposed to be doing it, and will continuously guide him and motivate him so that he performs to the best of his abilities, right? Now, wherever there are superior subordinate relationship, be it at the higher level of management, middle level of management, or operational level of management, right? Wherever there is a superior subordinate relationship, there is a need for directing. So therefore, directing is all pervasive. It is present at all levels of management. Third point, it is a continuous process. It is not a one-time action. It is not a one-time action. Like we say, planning is continuous. We keep on making plans. Then if there are changes in the business environment, we keep on amending our plans, right? What are we doing in direction? We are putting these plans into action. Directing is not a one-time job wherein you give directions, you motivate. Once that task is accomplished, we stop there. No, right? Because management is an ongoing process. Fine. So once your subordinate has achieved a particular task, right, then comes the next task your way, for which further you will have to guide him, motivate him, influence him, right, so that he performs to the best of his abilities. So directing is a continuous process. It continues throughout the life of an organization. Then it counsels and guides people. Okay, directing is not only about giving instructions that you are supposed to do A, B, C, D. No, right? Many a times you have to sit with your superior subordinate. You might have to sit with your subordinate, you know, actually show him how a particular task is to be done, right? You have to keep guiding him continuously. You have to keep, कई बार उंगली पकड़ के चलवाना पड़ता है, जब वो चलना सीख जाए तब हम छोड़ देते हैं. This is directing. Right? You are guiding that subordinate so that he is able to accomplish the predefined or predetermined objectives. Right? Last is, it flows from top to bottom. It flows from the top level of management in the form of the broad organizational objectives, the rules and regulations that are to be followed in the organization, right? Then from the top level management, it conveys it to the middle level management. Middle level management is further going to simplify these broad organizational objectives into departmental objectives, right? From the middle level management, it comes to the supervisory level of management, and from the supervisory level of management, it goes to the final workers. So in all, we've done 5 features of directing. That is, number 1, that it is directing which initiates action. Number 2, it is all pervasive, meaning it is present at all levels of organization. Number 3, it is a continuous process. It's not a one-time act, right? It is going to continue or carry on throughout the life of an organization. Then it counsels and guides people so that they perform to the best of their abilities. And last but not the least, it flows from top to bottom. I hope the meaning of directing and the characteristics of directing are pretty clear to you all. Now we move on to importance of directing, that why is this particular function of directing so important. Number 1, from the features only we will say that it is directing which initiates action. It says action starts with directing. ठीक है, उससे पहले तो सिर्फ स्क्रिप्ट राइटिंग चल रही थी, राइट? उससे पहले सिर्फ स्क्रिप्ट राइटिंग चल रही थी. हमने प्लान्स बनाए, ऑर्गेनाइजेशन स्ट्रक्चर्स डेवलप किए, हायरार्की जो फॉलो होनी है वो डेवलप की, लोग रिक्रूट किए. ठीक है, दिस इज ऑल स्क्रिप्टिंग, दिस इज ऑल ऑन पेपर. हमने सिर्फ सारी सेटिंग रेडी कर दी है. Okay, now the main action is going to start with directing, wherein आपने सबको designate कर दिया that you are the sales manager, you are the production manager, you are the finance manager, you are the human resource manager. Everyone has got their respective position. Clear? Now, how when they begin to perform only with the function of directing, only when they get the direction, right? When they are given. When they start to perform with the function of directing. It is directing which initiates action. Clear? Second is, directing leads to integrated group activity. Directing leads to integrated group activity. It means the individual efforts of all employees are integrated such that it becomes a group and powerful effort to achieve the goals of the organization. Now, what does this mean? आई एम रीडिंग इट फ्रॉम द बुक. व्हाट डज दिस मीन? इसका मतलब देखो, हमने पहले प्लानिंग में वी डिफाइंड द ब्रॉड ऑब्जेक्टिव्स, ब्रॉड ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल ऑब्जेक्टिव्स, राइट? फ्रॉम दोज ब्रॉड ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल ऑब्जेक्टिव्स, राइट, वी मेक आवर डिपार्टमेंटल ऑब्जेक्टिव्स. प्रोडक्शन डिपार्टमेंट के अपने ऑब्जेक्टिव, सेल्स डिपार्टमेंट के अपने ऑब्जेक्टिव्स, राइट, मार्केटिंग के अपने, HR के अपने, फाइनेंस के अपने, राइट. दीज आर योर इंडिविजुअल डिपार्टमेंटल ऑब्जेक्टिव्स. फाइन. नाउ